All right, good evening, everybody. This is the regularly scheduled planning board meeting for the town of Portsmouth. Today is Wednesday, March 10, 2021. The first item on the agenda are continuances and modifications. Mr. Lozinski. He does not have any. Leon, any changes to the agenda? No. None. Okay, hearing none, we will go on to item number 2 on the agenda. Item 2 is the approval of our planning board minutes, our meeting on February 10, 2021. Has everybody had an opportunity to review the minutes? The packet that I received, I assume everybody else got them. Are there any comments, questions, typos, things that need to be changed?
Mr. Harding here, I would like to, I don't know if it's really a typo or nowadays with Zoom meetings accepted, but in the number 3, at the conference BP and their division, it says he appeared representing the applicant. I would think that appeared would either be on screen, visibly seeing the person, or present. And I don't believe he was present or seen on screen. I think he was a voice on the screen, and I don't know if that this is still the right terminology or for future references. That's what it is. That's what it is.
Excuse me.
Go ahead.
Mr. Harding, I can hardly hear you. You cut in and out. Is there any way to get a microphone closer to you?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. On the front page, number 3, the Theodore Pikes, in the first paragraph, it talks about how Tom Principe appeared representing the applicant. And I don't think we ever saw his face nor did he appear in any way. All that we heard was his voice. And if that's the right phrase, because of Zoom meetings, that's great. But if it's not, maybe it should be a different word. I don't know what the right word would be. But 5 years from now, you look up notes, you think he was here, or we saw him.
It's still very hard. You cut in and out. I'm sorry. I think I did see Mr. Principe and Mr. Pites on my Zoom application. So I'm not quite sure what you're saying.
Not gonna worry about it.
Well, just as a matter of
Yep.
reference, has it said on our minutes that these are Zoom meetings?
It's not, and I've always wanted to ask about that.
Probably, it should be noted as a Zoom meeting, don't you think?
I would think so. Where would you like that to be?
How about where it says right at the beginning, the meeting was called to order, the Zoom meeting was called to order?
Okay,
How about putting it there, Diaz? What do you think about that?
I think that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. I still, I've always used appeared representing the applicant as just constituting what that individual is doing at the meeting.
Yeah, that's how I kind of understood it too.
Perfectly fine with me. Just
Look at so what's the town planner. I do think that the location of the meeting also has to be there. So the council chambers.
Okay.
Bases. Did you hear that, Dee?
No, not really. To be honest, I do have a lot of trouble hearing from all of you who sit in
What he
the.
said was, you should probably, if we're going to start talking about it being a Zoom meeting,
Whoop.
so, have a Zoom meeting from the town council chambers
Okay,
was Mike's suggestion.
okay,
That
that's
makes sense to you?
okay. Okay, but in general, I'd just like to comment.
Can't hear you, Dee.
Okay, can you hear me now? Let me see if I got muted.
Still can't hear you. Hang on.
I'm not muted.
Mike is running around trying to fix something.
Okay,
I can hear you.
How about we get it so we can hear her?
Yeah, that's what I'm working. The blower is on the other side.
Yeah.
Try again, Dee.
Can you hear me now?
Very
I can hear you, but very faintly.
Okay, I'm yelling at the screen.
This is Ryan, just to back up Dee, I'm hearing her loud and
All right,
clear.
hang on, everybody. Having trouble with this. Volume, am I?
Yep, trying. Hello? Testing.
Yes? Can you hear? How's that?
Didn't change anything, Dee. Hang on.
Okay.
All right, let's see if this works.
Again, Dee, can you?
Am I there? How's this?
Good.
That's better.
Good.
Okay. You all sound better too. Again, I just want to comment that from town hall, in particular, I have a hard time hearing everyone. Maybe this change will improve that. So I think it's really important if anybody on the panel makes a motion, they're very specific in their motions. Just so that I get everything down correctly. That's all.
Thank you, Dee.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else have any changes, corrections, modifications, comments on the minutes?
Mr. Chairman, this is Seth Palat. I just the members present, my last name is spelled correctly, one L, two T's, but there are other areas it's spelled incorrectly. I don't really care, but as a matter of formality, I figure it should just be corrected. And also I did not receive a panelist link for this meeting, but Ed was kind enough to forward me his link, so I think that's why everybody sees two Ed Lopes on the screen.
The same link every time.
It's the same link every time.
I try to set it up beforehand, but sometimes it,
Oh, did you send one out for tonight's meeting?
yeah.
I did not receive it. It must have went in my spam or something. I'll figure that out though. Thank you.
Or I have to click on every person individually, and there's a chance that maybe I missed it.
Okay. Now that I know it's the same link, that'll help. I'll just add it to the calendar. That's fine. Thank you.
All right, can we get back to the minutes? Any comments, changes, modifications? Typos? All right, what's the pleasure of the board?
I can make a motion with
Louder, louder. Mr. Harding?
Mr. Harding, and I'd like to make a motion that we accept the minutes as written with the minor spelling corrections.
Second,
Any other discussion? Here you're gonna call for vote, and I'll take the roll. All in favor, but let's do it this way. All in favor, say aye. Nay is against. Mr. Harding?
Aye.
Mr. Lopes?
Aye.
Ms. Wilson?
aye.
Garceau? Back to Mr. Garceau. Mr. Tibbetts?
Aye.
Palat?
Aye.
Mr. Garceau?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. There are no nays. The ayes have it. Moving on to item number 3 on the agenda. This is Island at Prescott Point, AP 5 Lot 1, 2543 West Main Road, and this is an application to reduce the road bond from, I believe, what, by 50%, 400,000 to 200,000. That's what I thought in the petition. Is there anybody here to speak on that petition?
Is anyone here? Raise your hand.
Well, let's. Okay. Any member of the board wish to talk about this? Before we do that, let's do this. Is there any member of the public that wishes to address this? All right, I will also make note of the fact that we have 2 letters in our packet. One dated February 16 from the applicant requesting the 50% reduction. Also have a letter that's dated February 18th from the Public Works Department of the town of Portsmouth, indicating that they inspected the road, that it meets their standards, and they have no objection to the road bond being reduced to 200,000. So we'll make that part of the record. Now, what's the pleasure of the board? Are there any discussions? Comments? No? Somebody going to make a motion?
I will make a motion. Mr. Harding making a motion that taking the advice of the Public Works Department, I agree that we should lower the security bond by 200,000, leaving the town the $200,000.
Is there a second?
Second,
Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, I will call for a vote. Mr. Harding,
Aye.
Mr. Lopes,
Aye.
Wilson,
aye.
Garceau,
Aye.
Tibbetts,
Aye.
Palat.
Aye.
Chair also votes in favor, so the ayes have it. There are no abstentions and there are no nays. Moving on to the 3rd item on the agenda. This was the continuation of last month's discussion on the GrowSmart letter asking for changes to be made to our ordinance regarding solar panels. We suggested that be referred to the town planner for recommendations. I assume that we have Mr. Can we see the faces, please? I assume that Mr. Crosby is with us.
I am indeed,
Hey, speak.
I am indeed with you. At the last meeting, I indicated that I thought that there were a couple of things that I wanted to ponder over a little bit further and were worthy of a little bit more discussion. My very shortest answer is I don't recommend there needs to be any changes to the ordinance based on the GrowSmart comment letter. I can go into more detail if you like, but I don't recommend that we change anything.
Questions from the board? Any other comments? What is the pleasure of the board? We don't have to take any action if we're happy with the way it is. I thought that we might gain some insight and comments from the planner. We could also put this off 1 week for a vote up or down on this and. Yes. 1 month, but that's again, it's up to the board. What's the Pleasure of the board.
Again, Mr. Harding, I'd like to make a suggestion based on Mr. Crosby's part had made some work in pulling us all together. If they don't feel it needs to change.
We're having a tough time hearing, Mr. Chair.
After all the hard work that Gary and Mike have done on the job and know every in and out of it, and if they feel after reading this request that it wouldn't be a good idea and we should leave it as it is, I'm going to take them for their word, and I would just take the vote to leave it as it is and make no changes.
Okay.
As a motion, yeah.
All right. Mr. Crosby, as I remember last time in reading the minutes for this meeting, you said that there were certain things that you thought that should be looked at. Did you go through those and make some kind of determination?
I did. I have gone through those. I think that Mike put some, I have some talking points Mike has put up on the screen there, but I think there were three things that I thought were worthy of discussion. One was this notion about his very first paragraph, this notion about directing solar development where it should go. I think back in 1964, when the first zoning map was created, it was created to reflect the existing land use at the time, and it was not a more rational approach that truly separated incompatible uses in the classic sense. So, and even a casual look at the zoning map shows a real mishmash of zoning districts. I can't, apart from a couple of parcels in the industrial park and perhaps the tank farms, I can't really think of a parcel of land zoned industrial or commercial that does not border on a residential zoned parcel in one fashion or another. So I think as far as us trying to incentivize solar development to go to certain parcels, i.e. industrial or commercial zoned parcels, we're not going to get away from the problem that we're having to deal with. We're always going to have parcels that are bordering on residential zones. And so I think that the way our current ordinance is written and the pure economics of solar development was going to result in the same outcome of directing solar development to sites that make sense for the solar developer, and we'll have to deal with the impacts of the residential zones on a case-by-case basis. The second thing that I wanted that I think is important to think about is lot coverage, and I think that once you get the setbacks and screening issues ironed out for any given site, I mean, to me, who cares about what happens with the remainder of the site? I don't think that they should be limited to a certain lot coverage standard inside the setbacks and screening perimeter. We're trying here to, our comprehensive plan says that we're supposed to be supporting renewable energy and so forth. So I don't see any point in limiting lot coverage. It just doesn't make sense to me that they should be able to maximize the amount of use and increase the economic feasibility of their projects, given the setbacks and screening. Again, I believe in a nutshell, I think that one size fits all standards. The board's job is to strike a balance between the rights of the neighborhood and the rights of the solar landowner. I don't think the goal here is to eliminate or eliminate from view any hint of a solar panel. I think the job of the two boards, planning board and the zoning board, is to minimize the visual impacts and strike this balance between the rights of the property owner and the rights of the neighbors, I think. And topography is really going to dictate that more than anything. I think there are borders where 50 feet and adequate screening will be more than enough to take care of the problem, and in other borders 200 feet will barely suffice. And so I think to take away the ability of the boards to remain flexible, certainly a 50-foot minimum standard is appropriate, but I think to take away the ability of the boards to strike this balance by adjusting the setbacks and screenings on a case-by-case basis, it's important to leave it in there. And I would not like to see, and again, related to my first notion about we're always going to have residential zones bordering on any parcel that is considered here. So I think that it's up to the board to strike that proper balance by adjusting the screening and the setbacks as need be. And certainly public hearings are the forum in which you do that sort of thing. So again, I don't believe that we should change anything in the ordinance as it's written.
Questions of Mr. Crowe? Is there any member of the public who wishes to address us?
If you're a member of the public, you can use the raise your hand feature on the app to make public comment.
Any other discussion? Mr. Hardy?
I'd like to come back and confirm that we just keep things the way they are, especially now having listened to Gary. So I'd like to keep it just the way it's written. That's my motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any other discussion?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, this is Ryan. I'm just, I'm curious, I'm not adverse to the proposal. I'm just curious, if I was on the town council asking for the planning board assessment and the recommendation is not to make any, that changes aren't necessary. I don't know if it, I guess I would have hoped for some brief synopsis back on the
You could put in that
rationale why it's not necessary.
recommendation of the planning department.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear that.
I said you could do it based on the recommendations of the planning department.
Yeah, I'm good with that. I mean, he's put it in writing here.
Yep.
Not necessarily formally in writing. Those are more of my talking points, but I think that I suppose I could write something up formally if that's what you want to have happen.
How about
But
that happen, Mr. President?
pardon me?
That probably should happen.
Okay.
Recommendation.
I don't mean to create work. I just feel like, looking at reverse roles, I'd kind of want to better understand than just saying, hey, we think it's fine.
So are you willing to just insert that into your motion?
Yes, I'd like to insert into my motion that we get a letter from Gary that and his recommendations, and based on those recommendations that we've heard, that I'd like to make a motion that we keep things as they are.
You willing to amend your second, Ms. Wilson?
Second,
Any other questions or comments?
Mr. Chair,
Sure. Is it Mr. Lopes?
this is Mr. Lopes, Mr. Chair, Ed Lopes, for the record. Should we also note that we held a public hearing and that there was no public comment?
That's going to be in our minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Opened it up to the public and nobody made any comment. That'll be part of the minutes.
Is this letter to be addressed to the planning board or to the town council?
You can address it to us, and it's a summary of your comments to us.
Okay,
Make those part of the minutes. Did you get that, Dee?
Yes, I did. Oh, hold on. Gary, could you email me a copy of whatever you do?
oh, absolutely, yes.
Okay, thank you.
I'm basically gonna take what you see here and kind of organize it and, make it a little bit more formal, but I will be happy to send you a copy.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments or discussion? All right, hearing none, I'm going to ask for a vote. Mr. Harding.
Aye.
Mr. Lopes.
Aye,
Wilson.
aye.
Mr. Garceau. Go back to Mr. Garceau. Mr. Tibbetts.
Aye.
Palat.
Aye.
Mr. Garceau. The chair votes in favor. Is Mr. Garceau there?
I think he just dropped off.
Okay. Do you want to do that?
Dave usually uses two accounts, one with the video and the audio.
Boy, that's complicated. Wow. I've got trouble with one thing. All right, we're going to proceed that we'll register Mr. Garceau as abstaining. So that's a 6 in favor, 1 abstention. All right, we're moving on to item number 5, which is the monthly project status report that Leon gives us. Anything we need to take a look at here? Nothing special, just pretty much run of the mill? No. Okay. What's the pleasure of the board on the report?
I'll make a motion, Mr. Chair, we receive and place on file.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second,
Mr. Harding beat you, Ms. Wilson. Any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. Mr. Harding.
Aye.
Mr. Lopes.
Aye,
Ms. Wilson.
aye.
Garceau. Tibbetts.
Aye.
Lot.
Aye.
Chair votes in favor. Do we have Mr. Garceau back? All right, we'll register his as an abstention. Okay, that completes our calendar. What's the pleasure of the board? Louder.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Sure, aye.
Thank you, Mr. Tibbetts. I don't think we need to take a vote on that one.
Yeah.
We're all in favor. Thanks, everybody.
I know.